Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the series Call of the Messiah, uh, in which this is broadcast number 41, which is being brought to you on Sunday, the 27th of June 2021. These broadcasts are brought to you by the Lahore Ahmadiyya community, and its founder was Hazrat Mirza Ghulam. And he taught Muslims that although some people want to bring an old prophet and some want to bring a new prophet, the Holy Quran says about the Holy Prophet Muhammad that he was the Khatamun Nabi. And the Holy Prophet explained that by saying that it means La Nabiya Ba'd. La, no. Nabiya, prophet. Badi, after. No prophet after. So no prophet can now come, whether an old one or a new one. And this concerned his companions, Razillah Ta'ala anhum, who said that after each prophet, the Israelites would go astray. And then God would send another prophet to bring them back to the right path. What will happen to this ummah? And the Holy Prophet said that God will send reformers, mujaddadeen, to reform Muslims. God will send. Not that someone will do something and then people will say, oh, he's a mujaddid because he's done this or that or whatever. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that his distinction was that from among the mujaddids, he was the one for whom the Holy Prophet Muhammad had used the words Messiah and Mahdi. He also pointed out that yes, this is a point of disagreement between Muslims. But he said a Muslim cannot say to another Muslim, one Muslim cannot say, one reciter of the kalima cannot say to another reciter of the kalima, you are not a Muslim. If he does, then it is the person saying who is actually a non-Muslim, a kafir, a heretic. So strongly was the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam against Muslims calling each other heretics and out of fold of Islam. And Hazrat Sahib further taught us that some people say that some of the prophetic revelation that the Holy Prophet received, such as Surah Al-Ayat, Ayah Rajam, they are missing from the Holy Quran. That Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi taught us that all the prophetic revelation that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam brought to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is in the Quran. There is nothing missing. Lahore Ahmadiyya community, to my knowledge, are the only people who believe this. Similarly, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed out that people say some verses of the Holy Quran have been abrogated. Hazrat Shah Waliullah comments on this and says people say more than 500 verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated. I have conducted research and I've discovered that it's not 500 verses, it's only 7. But Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, Rahmatullah Alayh, and Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali Sahib, they showed that no verse of the Holy Quran was, is, or ever shall be abrogated. Complete nonsense, to put it mildly. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad stressed that every Muslim must conduct jihad. This is a duty imposed upon them by God, and it's in the Holy Quran, and no one can abrogate this duty. But he did point out that we need to look at how the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam defined jihad. Did he define it that you take the sword, and if a non-Muslim does not embrace Islam, you cut his head off? Or did the Holy Prophet define it in some other way? The Holy Prophet Muhammad said, while returning from fighting, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, from the minor jihad, jihad-e-saghir, we now return to the major jihad, jihad-e-kabir. And then he explained that the greater jihad, the more difficult jihad, is to fight and control your own evil desires and negative thoughts and emotions. Greed, envy, jealousy. The list is a long one. And they said, yes, it is true. If you're attacked with the sword, you have to respond with the sword. But these days we are being attacked intellectually with the pen. So we have to respond with the pen. And there was a time when truth of Islam was established by Muslims fighting for it. We now have to fight for it with the pen, not with the gun. So with that, we come to today's topic. And I'll start by a brief introduction. There are 3 groups amongst the Muslims. The first group says that Jesus, the Prophet of Allah, did not die on the cross. He was bodily taken up to heavens, and he is still there, and he's going to come down, and Muslims are going to join him, and he's going to complete the mission of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which lies incomplete. That's the first group. The second group says this is incorrect. The Holy Quran tells us that the Holy Prophet Jesus died, but not on the cross. He was taken down alive. He migrated to Kashmir, and he died there, and he is buried there. The person who was to come was a Muslim Imam, a Mujaddid, who was metaphorically called the Messiah, and he is the real prophet, but he is a real prophet. So, the first group take a prophet, bring him down, and take the prophethood away from him. The second group say that a follower of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, a Muslim, will make the claim to being the Messiah. And although the claim to being the Messiah is metaphorical, he will be a real prophet. And the third group is our organization, Ahmadiyya Mishat Islam or Lahore Ahmadiyya community. It's the same thing. And we believe that yes, Jesus did not die on the cross. He was taken down alive. He migrated to Kashmir and he died there. This is human research which shows that the Quran says that Jesus was not bodily taken up to heaven, but that he died. And we say, as I said at the beginning, that the Quran calls the Holy Prophet Khatmun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet says, La Nabi Abadi. That means no prophet can now come. Whether it's an old prophet that we bring down and then take his prophethood away to make him a follower and ummati, or it is a new prophet that you take a follower and you bestow upon him the title of prophet in reality. Now, what I want to do is have a look at this contradiction in the statements of the second group who say that where the Hadith talks about the Messiah, that is a metaphor or a simile. But where the Hadith talks about Nabiullah, Prophet of Allah, that is literal, that is true. First, I want to look at a couple of statements by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad in this regard. I keep on wanting to knock things over today for some reason. This is Tawziye Maram, page 59, where Hazrat Sahib says, at this place, if the objection is raised that the one who comes in the footsteps in the likeness of bearing a resemblance to the Messiah should also be a prophet, well, its first reply is that for the coming Messiah, our Lord and Master has not made prophethood a condition. So, Hazrat Sahib himself is saying it is not a condition that the Messiah to come should be a prophet. And then about the Hadith which is quoted to show that because he was Masih ibn Maryam, he must be a prophet. About this Hadith, Hazrat Masih Maud says, this is the Hadith which in the Sahih of Muslim is written by Imam Muslim, which Hadith, considering unreliable, was rejected by Imam Muhammad Ismail Bukhari, who was the chief collector of the Hadith. Now, this is very strange that the person whose claim to being a prophet you're trying to justify by using this Hadith, what is he doing? He is rejecting that Hadith. He's saying it's unreliable. And he's referring to Imam Bukhari to say, well, Imam Bukhari rejected it. So it can't be reliable. Let me now share with you an article written by a friend, which we printed in this month's Al Noor, which is our Urdu magazine. And it talks about, the heading is The Second Coming of Jesus. And our friend says, the Messiah has passed away. And the hadith, the person that the hadith speak about as descending, it means that a person shall be born from this ummah. And as a metaphor, he will be called Masih ibn Maryam, Jesus, son of Mary. This is in the same way as a brave person, because of his bravery, is called a lion. So, calling him a lion is a metaphor. But some people say that because the Messiah to come in the hadith is called Nabiullah, that is why Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, who as a metaphor is the Messiah, is actually a prophet. This shows that there's a contradiction amongst their own beliefs. On the one hand, they say that the Messiah, use of the word Messiah, is a metaphor. And on the other hand, they say that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Rahmatullah Alayh was a real prophet. Although, as a principle, if the prophecy is speaking in metaphors about the Messiah to come, then his being a prophet is also a metaphor. He cannot be a real prophet. Thus, this belief is proven to be false by their own principles. Then our friend carries on to quote from Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib in many places to show what Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said. First of all, this is an Arabic book, and we quoted the Urdu translation, which I am now translating into English. The Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's saying that Jesus, son of Mary, will certainly descend or appear among you. That is to say, that a person bearing his attributes will be raised among you. And he will appear in place of Jesus. Then in Ruhani Khazan, volume 11, page 26, Hazrat says, the name for the coming Messiah, which in Sahih of Muslim, in the collection of ahadith by Muslim, etc., from the holy tongue of the Prophet comes as Nabiullah, that is as a metaphor. Then again, Ruhani Khazan, volume 14, page 308. Remember that in Muslim, the word Nabi has been used from the promised Messiah. That is as a simile or a metaphor. Majaz or Istara. Again, Ruhani Khazain, volume 3, page 60. For the Messiah to come, the Holy Prophet Muhammad has not made prophethood conditional. This I actually read out to you earlier. But this is the most interesting one. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad says, our scholars, that is, opposing scholars insist that the hadith about the coming of the son of Mary should be taken literally. But when these wise people are asked to explain the meaning of this hadith, that it says that son of Mary shall come and he'll break crosses and he'll kill pigs, then they take the words son of Mary literally. But for the words cross and swine, they start using similes and metaphors, as do we. Thus, by doing so, they themselves stand accused of being wrong, of twisting words. For it was for them that from three terms, three phrases, that is, coming of son of Mary, breaking of crosses, killing of swine, about two terms, you have accepted that they are used metaphorically. Then the third term, which is coming of son of Mary, why can't that be a metaphor and some other person meant metaphorically? So then he questions them that is it wise that they crib part of what Hazrat says and not the rest. But the question then also applies to these people who say that son of Mary is a metaphor, but Nabiullah is literal. And we can say this, that from among these terms, that is, Jesus, son of Mary, and Nabiullah, about one you agree that it's a metaphor. So why do you not agree that Nabiullah is also metaphor? And if you don't, it is for you to justify that. This is exactly the argument that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib used against his opponents. Thus, our friend concludes, when the word cross is a metaphor, when the word swine is a metaphor, when the word son of Mary is a metaphor, then the Messiah being a prophet is also a metaphor. And those people who say that being Messiah is a metaphor, but he is a real prophet, are proven wrong by their own point of view, by their own beliefs. And, Islam is a very simple religion. The Holy Prophet, the Holy Quran said, what the Holy Prophet Muhammad Khatmun Nabi. The Holy Prophet said, La Nabi Abba. How much simpler can it be Now no prophet can come, whether an old prophet or a new one. But then you see, there are people who have a vested interest in making religion complicated. I'll give you an example from the time of the Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, Hazrat Masih Islam, when people said, we don't have enough Maulvis. And Hazrat Sahib said, well, what do you need a Maulvi for? How to lead the prayers. So the promised Messiah said, well, the whole Jamaat, every single person in the Jamaat should be able to lead the prayers. Okay, what about calling the azan in a baby's ear? Remember, the whole Jamaat should know what to do. And what about nikah? Hazrat replied, the whole Jamaat should know what to do. What about funeral prayers? Hazrat replied, the whole Jamaat should know what to do. He said, these are not things for which you need. These are not things for which you need imams and so on. Their job is to defend Islam. Their job is to propagate Islam. But to propagate Islam, you need to read the Old Testament and the New Testament and the Vedas and so on, which is a very hard thing to do. To read original Vedas, you have to learn Sanskrit. To read original Old Testament and New Testament, you have to learn old languages, Greek and Latin and Hebrew. That is why this vested interest. They want to make ordinary salat complicated, nikah complicated, funeral complicated. Why? So that they don't have to do any real hard work for propagation of Islam. Remember, I always say this, and I'll end with this. It's very simple. The Holy Quran says, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, you are Khatmun Nabiyyin, seal of the prophets. We are not talking about individually what seal means and what the prophets mean. We are talking about the combined term Khatmun Nabiyyin, seal of the prophets. And the Holy Prophet explained to us what it means. La Nabi Abadi, there is no prophet. That is the end of the story. No more arguments are needed. Finished. So keep that in view whenever you're talking to anyone. Keep that in view. The time has come to an end, I'm told. We're nearly out of time. And just to remind you that our next broadcast will be reflections, next English broadcast will be reflections on the Holy Quran, which will be at 7:30 tomorrow afternoon. These are UK times that I'm giving to you. So I hope we'll see you then. And with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you are, may Allah keep the whole of humanity under His wing and protect everyone, regardless of their religion or sect or nationality or color. Protect all of them from harm and loss. Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz. Goodbye.